I'm a very lazy person. So I was watching a podcast on YouTube. It's called H3H3. They had Bert Kreischer on, who's a famous comic. And he was talking about he wants a water pick, like for flossing your mouth. Have you seen those? It's like instead of using
I want one.
Wired floss. He said he wants one in the shower. That way he can use the water pick when he's in the shower. And that was one of my ideas that I was going to do for the podcast. But as I was
shower pick.
Yeah. Bert's joke was that he would just use it as an enema kit also for his ass, just to steal his joke.
I don't know if you should use that for both things.
But the reason that I didn't do it for an idea is because as I was looking it up for this podcast, I saw that it actually exists, and I bought one, so I have one. So it does exist. And I thought, well, I hate flossing with wired floss. I hate having to refill the water pick on the bathroom stand. But this one in the shower, this is going to finally get me to floss. Nope, I still don't fucking floss. But as I was thinking about it last week after Bert Kreischer brought it up, I think I came up with the ultimate way to get people to floss. I think this is a huge idea that will like solve dentistry, like end cavities almost completely, because it'll be a way to get people to actually floss. The way I would do that is you use this shower water pick, but you make like a high-tech one where if you don't use it, you don't get any hot water for your shower. So it forces you to take the water pick and move it around as if you're flossing, like in the directions that your teeth would be, like bottom teeth, like move it back and forth, and then up top teeth. It forces you to do that with the water flowing before it gives you hot water.
Would there be a sensor, like to know that it has to be close to your mouth to have everything set on, or could somebody just be throwing it around willy-nilly and just getting hot water and not flossing?
I thought about that, and I thought, well, you can't have like the power plug in the same room as the bathroom or the switch to allow hot water. So it would have to be like in the crawl space downstairs, the whole setup of hooking it up to the water supply and the electronics and stuff. Because I wouldn't walk all the way down into the crawl space to redo pipes to avoid flossing. But if there was a plug in the corner of the bathroom, I might pull that off to avoid flossing. And then I thought, well, I don't hate using the water pick like I hated normal flossing, like to go so far as to spend a minute flossing the air around my head. Like, I don't think I would do that. Plus, the other thing is for the top teeth, like my shower, the ceiling above the shower is not tile. It's normal paint. The shower border only goes up like 2 feet from the top of the ceiling. So it's like I would be like getting water everywhere all over the normal paint drywall walls and ceiling. It's like, do I really want to do this to avoid
cavities and new drywall?
Yeah. So I think it would be enough to get me to actually floss. And I think it would be enough to get most people to actually floss. Because I don't want to have a cold shower and I don't want to ruin my bathroom walls just to avoid the water pick flossing, which does tickle a little bit more than like the normal water pick that goes next to the sink faucet. I don't like that it tickles more, but...
So say, if it tickles, is it working as well?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, the sink, one that you buy that you put next to the sink faucet, it has the water intensity dial that makes sense, like 1 to 10. Like, you know what 1 is and you know what 10 is, because it's getting the water from a tank. It's got its own motor. But the one that goes on the shower head is totally mechanical, so it diverts some of the water coming out of the shower head through this second tube that connects to the water pick. So the intensity depends on your actual water pressure of your house. So there's no like 1 to 10 dial. You have to guess. So I guess if I actually used it, I might figure out like the way to get the pressure that's perfect that doesn't tickle, but I haven't bothered. I guess if it had electronics too, you could maybe detect the pressure and give an accurate 1 to 10 thing so it wouldn't tickle as much. I guess that's another thing you could do if you made it fancy and electronic.
Minus the fact that it could get, not have hot water with everything. What do you think are some of the other drawbacks of something like that?
Some of the other drawbacks?
Yeah, some of the other drawbacks besides getting significant shrinkage.
Well, I mean, sometimes I sleep in, like, and I'm running late for work, And so I guess I would have to endure cold water if I didn't want to spend 40 seconds doing the floss thing. Okay. But I guess I shouldn't be cutting it that close on the way to work anyway. Right. So maybe I should be punished for that with cold water.
You could also be wide awake in a hurry with shit breath because you took a cold shower.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be worried about it getting all moldy, though. I just feel like anything that sits in the shower for that long a period of time, it's going to get moldy in some way at some point.
I've had it for about 6 months, and it hasn't gotten moldy.
Yeah? Have you looked inside of it?
Well, what you do...
That's where the mold is.
Well, you turn the pressure on, and you let it run for like 30 seconds to clear out whatever's on the inside.
Yeah, it defeats the purpose to have a water pick that has just as much mildew as like the ice cream machine at McDonald's.
Yeah, like, here.
I haven't seen like chunks
water pick
of
your
gross.
Teeth with mold.
Like, it looks clean, even though I don't hardly ever use it.
All of a sudden, I have allergies.
I've just been sick for 3 months now.
But yeah, I guess there's a chance if you did it wrong, you could get electrocuted, or like if the power went out, you'd be forced with cold water.
You know what? At least down here, when the power goes out, you guys still have water.
You don't? You have well water or something?
Where I grew up, yeah, everyone has a private well. So when I moved down here and the electricity went out, someone's like, oh, well, I'm just going to hop in and take a cold shower real quick. And I'm like, the electricity's out. And they're like, you're dumb. And I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. This doesn't make me dumb.
The well changes everything, that's for sure.
You know what, though, is the best tasting water? It's not like hard water. It's like regular, like purified, triple filtered, clean water that doesn't taste like anything like water should. Yeah. So nice. I miss tap water.
Any more thoughts on my, do you think it's a genius idea, my holding the hot water hostage until you floss water pick, which is too long of a title?
It actually is a pretty good idea, because nobody likes taking cold showers, and that would be an extra incentive to know that you should be doing something that you should be doing anyway.
Would you use it, Kate, or buy it?
Actually, I do like water flossing just because I've had my lower wisdom teeth removed. And it's a pain in the ass to, like, floss with, like, just regular floss. Like, you need some sort of a pick, and using a toothpick and stuff all the time hurts. So I'm all game for the water floss. I don't think you have to hold my hot water hostage from me to get me to use it, but I appreciate the incentive.
Okay. One more thing on the whole dentistry thing. I don't remember where I heard this. It might have been some stupid Joe Rogan podcast guest, like a hunter or something. He said that cavemen never had cavities because they had a primarily meat diet. So even though they didn't brush their teeth because they weren't eating like sugar and processed sugar, they never got cavities.
Are they sure?
I don't know, but...
How many cavemen teeth have they actually looked at?
I don't know, but I had a thing that happened when I was a kid.
Evidence.
Yeah.
So
how come every Cro-Magnon looks like they're from London?
Well, let's assume for the sake of argument that there is at least some truth to the cavemen not brushing their teeth thing. Excuse me. Why was that so funny?
You're one hell of a classy lady, Tom.
Yes, I am.
Right into the mic, man.
Yeah, like right on the mic. The next guest will smell it on the mic. I lost my train of thought. But let's assume that that's correct. I feel like I've been misled by the dental industry and my parents and teachers, like kindergarten teachers, because they always say, you brush your teeth in the morning and before you go to bed, you'll be fine. So they always tie the act of brushing to the time of day. And what happened when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, I saved up all my money. I got like $10 and I bought a giant thing of Jolly Rancher candies, and I would eat like 3 or 4 of those a day. And I brushed like you're supposed to, like they told me to, but I got 9 cavities the next time I went to the dentist.
Shit.
So I was following their directions. Their directions were wrong. So I blame society.
Same thing with Skype.
Exactly.
I know how you feel.
But you do hear things like on the news, like flossing doesn't matter, or you don't actually need to brush your teeth, you just need to floss. Like people are starting to second guess. There's never been scientific evidence on is flossing plus brushing really that much better than just brushing, or some of that could just be fake news. But maybe the whole idea of brushing based on a time, maybe it's bullshit. Maybe if you're a paleo person, you don't even need to brush your teeth. And if you're an idiot who eats 5 Jolly Rancher candies a day, maybe I should be like just constantly brushing my teeth, like gargling sulfuric acid or something to, well, that would probably melt your teeth, but something to like get the colored candy coating off of your tongue or whatever, like scrubbing your tongue. Like maybe it should all be based on what you're eating and not the time of day.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It could have been one of those ones where the Jolly Ranchers were what made you safe, and it could have been meth. Can you imagine Jolly Rancher flavored meth? That person would be fucked.
Meth ranchers.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a compliment that you think I'm young enough that meth was around when I was in the 5th grade.
Meth has been around a long time.
I guess it has, but
Meth's
it never
been around since like
The 40s.
the 1800s.
At least the 40s.
I didn't really hear about meth as like a big thing until like
You should look up-
2004-ish. Like
You should look up the ingredients of like old time cough syrup recipes from like the 1800s. It's basically meth, like
Meth and heroin.
like meth and heroin, cocaine. Like,
Yeah.
wow, you got sick back then. They just got you
They were
high for a
they were
week until you
they were
felt better.
They were experimenting on soldiers back in the 1940s,
They were like
basically, with
the
meth to
Beatles
keep
of
people-
medicine.
They were trying to keep people awake in combat, and were giving them meth to keep them awake.
But am I wrong about this? That meth became like way, way, way bigger in like the mid 2000s,
It's been rampant all over the place. It's
like
just, you're
especially
seeing
in like white southern, like rural white neighborhoods.
you're seeing it more in more populated areas as opposed
Breaking
to
Bad.
where it was out in the rural areas before. As caustic as all that stuff is, I mean, people were doing that stuff out in the middle of frickin' nowhere because you almost had to because of the smell and everything else of it. But now you have like people doing it with the mobile, where you didn't have to have that much space. You can just
Can you imagine fighting in a war and you have a bunch of like meth head zombies walking towards you?
like superhuman strength running at you.
Meth,
Like, I don't think I want to be here anymore.
I think I would choose a meth head zombie rather than a regular zombie because you don't want your zombie to have good teeth to bite
I
you
mean,
with.
they just look like they're a zombie. I didn't mean they were actual zombies fighting in World War II. Zombie war. World War Z. There you go.
I thought I heard that meth didn't actually cause cavities. It caused dry mouth, which caused cavities.
Well, maybe you should keep your mouth moist.
That's the worst sounding thing I've heard the whole time.
It's one of my least favorite words, but I feel like I'm just trying to use it so I hate it less.
God, he seems like a catch. He has a real moist mouth. It's like
Sorry, damp. Would you rather damp?
or dank.
They should
I don't think
sell
you
like
smoke weed.
meth humidifiers in like head shops or whatever. Like try to convince all of the meth heads to buy humidifiers. Put like pictures of Jimi Hendrix and maybe some celebrity. I don't know what celebrity endorses meth.
Tom Sizemore.
Yeah, I don't think there's any. There's no rappers even that support meth. Like
Nah, there's nobody.
How can you?
There's nobody glamorizing meth
How
in
can you
any
physically go out
songs.
and be like, meth is the most beautiful thing in the whole world?
But I'm picturing like Buck Cherry.
There's no side
like,
effects.
They would sing songs about cocaine. What's his name? Eric Clapton. Lots of rock stars would sing songs about.
You have songs.
cocaine,
You have
but
songs about.
there's no
sex
meth
on the-
songs.
Okay, well, let's
is
look
there?
at where Buck Cherry is now. That cocaine got him not very far.
You have songs that are glamorizing Molly and stuff. Sex on Molly. Nobody's ever going to be like popping bottles and fucking on meth.
Yeah. I guess no
Mostly
meth
'cause you
song.
can't.
2 PBRs and some blue magic.
Well,
That's not going to happen.
That means that the endorsement for the meth humidifiers is wide open. Like
Untapped resources
maybe
here.
we could get Jeff Horst or Brad Wenzel, one of the local comics, like the most famous person we know, to like endorse the meth humidifiers.
Hi, I'm comedian Jeff Horst. Not for Jeff Horst for meth. Yeah, we gotta see what his take is on that.
Can you imagine politics? I support meth. Just trying to get votes.
But it could be like, well, I don't support meth, but if you do meth, do it responsibly.
How can you responsibly do meth, though?
Do it
That's like
dentally
supposed to be one of the most
responsibly.
addicting things in the whole world is freaking meth. Like, how can you do it responsibly?
It's like handing out free needles. It's like people are going to do meth. We might as well at least help them save their teeth.
There was this girl comedian once. She was on that one show Ari Shaffir did, where he had a bunch of comedians.
This
and
is
they came
not
out.
happening.
Yes, I love that. But it was all about drug-related stories. And this one girl came on, was talking about how she was addicted to meth for a while. And she found out that your system can't process meth. So you're high the whole time till it comes out your system. So basically, she figured out that you're just pissing pure meth. So she's
not going to piss.
Drinking her own pee.
Oh, no.
I'm like, that's what meth does to you?
Yeah.
No! Meth made you drink your own pee?
You get a mouthful of your own piss, you got a smidge of a drug problem, that's for sure.
Jessa Reed was her name. And apparently, if you do meth, you're going to pee it out and you can drink it and get high again.
I heard you could do that with mushrooms.
I don't want to do that with mushrooms. I like them the first time around. That's kind of good enough for me.
I can remember a pizza place I worked at when I was at Ferris where the guy I worked with was putting shrooms on his pizza and eating it. I was just like, well, this is the guy that's going to give me my money tonight. Makes me feel good.
Well, enough about meth and teeth.
I'm comedian Derek Brand.
I'm your host, Tom Walma. This is Creativity Wasted. I have a website, creativitywasted.com, and I also started a Patreon. So if you love the show, consider donating to Patreon.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.